All right, let's see. What up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P, and we are joined by Derek from Lions Syndicate. Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are going to be running down some things, some moves from the offseason, not this offseason, from last offseason, because this is the Lions season in review. We want to talk about what Brad Holmes did last year to help the team this year. Obviously, he did a bunch because he's the GM and that's his job. He's supposed to do stuff, right? Yes, I think so. All right. So we'll talk about the things that he did, what was good, what was bad, what was even maybe possibly ugly. I know Tactical Sport, my man, has the ugly move, but that wasn't from this offseason. So remember, Tactical, we are not here to talk about Project Martin. All right. He is on the team until further notice. All right. So now that we got that out the way, what up, though, Derek?
What's good, big dog? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm just chilling, watch that Super Bowl. Wish I didn't watch the Super Bowl. Worst Super Bowl ever.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed, man. And the graphics were awful.
They were. I don't know what that. I didn't watch, but I saw the little box, and I'm like, "What are we doing here?" Now I know your slogan is "Came to give you stats, not static." But where's the energy at, bro? You all right, man? Is it been a long day? I know. Where's the energy, man? You seem a little deflated today.
I've been up since 4, but hey, man,
there you go.
There we go.
That explains it.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and get my Cosby on. We're gonna talk about the Lions today.
Pretty good, one, bro.
All right, so the energy is better, right?
Man, wow, yeah, that's pretty good, man. You really could do voiceover, man. That's crazy.
I can do Cosby. That's it. Hey. I can do a few things. I can do French. Bonjour, oui. Welcome to the Motor City. Cats. Yeah, I can do some of that stuff.
Wow, pretty good, my man. Pretty good.
So what's been going on with you? How did you spend your Super Bowl Sunday?
My Super Bowl Sunday, the wife and I watched what is his name? Morris Chestnut. We watched Watson, which is a new series. I believe it's on Fox. We said we were going to watch that together. And I played a little PS5, you know what I'm saying? And my Twitter was blowing up. Everybody kept talking about the defense and how it's winning the Eagles a championship. But that was it, man. It wasn't as bad. It was a little itch at the beginning. Like I was like, oh, everybody's watching. I kind of want to watch. But I stayed true, man. I did not watch a single snap. As a matter of fact, my wife was trying to find something on TV and the Super Bowl was on the screen and I put my hands up and covered it up. I didn't see. I said I wasn't going to watch, bro. I didn't watch. And it was kind of therapeutic, to be honest with you.
I don't know what missing a Super Bowl feels like. I think I've never missed one. I've never not watched one. I've never seen the Lions in one. And obviously we're talking about things of that nature. But I mean, the Super Bowl has always just been a spectacle for me. I always enjoy it. I don't know. I just can't bring myself to not watch it. But you might have set a precedent that you're going to have to maybe buy some expensive things, because when you let the wife take over Super Bowl Sunday, she she might expect it later and you'd be like, listen, that was a one-off.
Yeah, that's yeah, it was, because otherwise we would have watched it together and something like that, which we've done. We even did it while we were dating. But you're right, I didn't think about that before, but maybe after this live stream I'll let her know that was a one-off.
Yeah, I went to the store at halftime because I don't really care too much about the halftime show. That is one thing that I don't actually care about. But I came back. She's watching the halftime show. She's like, I'm watching the Super Bowl. I was like, no, you're not.
That's not the Super Bowl. Not the same thing.
All right. So let's go ahead and get to the chat. Say what up, though, to the people before we get into this. We've got Hostage 42 is here. Tactical Spork is here. Z Black is here. Riggedy Row is coming. African Bambata and the Zulu Nation. Taylor Made Media is here. JD is here. Freddie Wise is here. Bobby Stark is here. Here's Johnny is here. And I'm sure many more will be coming in. What up, though, everybody in the chat? Appreciate you guys for coming in. Appreciate the subs. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us. So we're going to try to get to your comments as much as possible. Hey, if you want to jump the line, don't be afraid to super chat. We got a super chat goal of 20 super chats before I do my first live mock draft. Derek, you are welcome to join in because I am not a mock drafter. I do have a plan later on in the off season. I don't know if it'll be around draft time. Probably should be. I'm going to have a 32 team mock draft where I will not be controlling any of the teams. It will all be chat based. I will be Roger Goodell. And I will announce your picks and all these things. So everyone will be representing one of the 32 teams. So you can put your biases aside and we can have fun as a chat and a creator base. So that's what we're gonna do. But the goal is we need 8 more super chats before I will make a fool out of myself on live and do a mock draft for the first time ever. I'm just gonna tell y'all now, I'm not picking nothing other than defensive linemen. That's all I'm picking every round. All right, so what do you think about that, Derek?
I think it's cool. I'll probably not be a part of that. That ain't what I do. I just, I'll watch, no doubt, but I appreciate the invite. But I got to tell you this, man. You just had a milestone, bro. 600 subscribers. 600 subscribers. So
I need to get my hold on. I'll just do my Kevin Hart.
That works.
I actually have that sound on my soundboard. I just don't have my soundboard up now. But so anybody, milestone, appreciate whoever the 600 subscriber was. All right. So we got that breaking news. All right. So starting off with the offseason moves, we'll start off in free agency. We'll just do it the way that it's, the way that we do it every NFL offseason. Free agency first, then we'll go with draft. I don't know if we do any of the in-season moves because those are based off necessity. Some of them were good and some of them turned out to be terrible, but you can't knock Brad Holmes for Ezekiel Turner. Yeah. He was who you had.
Yeah,
it's not Brad Holmes' fault. Ezekiel Turner doesn't know how to cover running backs coming out of the backfield. It's not his fault. Ty Johnson cooked us for 200 yards because Ezekiel Turner couldn't see him, didn't know what his number was, didn't understand the assignment. That wasn't Brad's fault.
Yeah,
he was just there. He was on the scrap heap. All right, so let's start with the free agency. I will let you go first. We'll talk about the trade of Carlton Davis. What did you think about that trade? What is your letter grade? What do you think it did for the Detroit Lions? And why do you feel this way?
Man, that's a loaded question. All right. So let me see. We traded for Carlton Davis. What did we receive? What did we give up? I'm looking at Pride of Detroit. They don't have the draft compensation, but I think it had to do with we
gave up a third rounder.
That was
and I think it was our original third rounder because we didn't have a third rounder coming into this draft, and that's why AG getting the job with the Jets was a pretty good thing because it gave us a third rounder this year, which we didn't have, and it gave us a third rounder for next year. So now we have 2/3 for next year. Okay,
so let me see. Carlton Davis, when I initially saw the trade, I was a wee bit irritated. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Because Brad has had an affinity for cornerbacks. And I understand because when he first took over the team, they were terrible. And even he tries to replace them and they stay terrible or they get hurt. I don't remember if we had re-signed Emmanuel Mosley at the time. I feel like Carlton was first. But Carlton was solid. He was solid. I like reworking the contract. I do like that. But when it comes to something that, and this is going to go further down the line when we start talking about this position, we traded for a guy on a loaner deal. Now, I think Carlton Davis played well considering. I would board it like it was extremely well. He only played 13 games. We know what happened. He broke his jaw near the end of the season. But I like what I saw. The thing that had me wondering was the compensation for the time. He was a loaner pick. Brad had already gone hard. Well, nope. He had already, in the draft before, we take Brian Branch. We had the Cam Sutton situation didn't work out. So I was a little like, all right, here we go again. Then, but the thing that really got me was the loaner part of it, because we talk about, and it's hard not to talk about Carlton Davis and the loaner aspect and not go into this one specific position. But as far as a grade, I give it a B plus. I can't give it any higher than that because it was a loaner, but I think he played well. I like restructuring the contract. I just don't really like the draft capital for a loaner deal. Outside of that, I give it a B plus.
All right. I'm gonna go. Well, it's not really the opposite because you know B is average. So, but I'm gonna go further to the top.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it an A plus. And the reason I'm giving it A plus is because our cornerback depth chart at the time consisted of Kendall Vildor, Khalil Dorsey, and no one else. Like, we didn't have corners, right? So I was happy with the move because we had no one, right? Mm-hmm. That's pretty much why I was happy with it. The way that it worked out, I would give it an A, right? So I'm giving it, I'm cheating, right? I'm moving it, right? So I gave it an A plus at the beginning because we had nobody. Then I'm giving it an A and overall. The way that it worked out, the fact that he was there to mentor Terrion Arnold, and we'll talk about Terrion a little bit later.
I think that's cheating, bro. I think that's cheating.
I'm cheating
because we hadn't drafted Terrion yet. We hadn't drafted him yet. So
that's right. But that's why I'm saying the way it worked, I'm moving it down.
Oh, see, you asked.
I'm telling you, I'm cheating.
Question. So now
I'm telling you, I'm cheating.
Okay, that changes mine then. Now I gotta redo mine. But go ahead, finish up.
You can cheat too. It's fine. I don't want to be the only one cheating. Okay, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Well, if you moving the question, then yeah, man. Now we got a whole different kind of.
We did say overall, like the move that how it affected the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
So
right,
you know what I'm saying. Okay. So that was in there. Okay. I'm I'm play cheating. I'm not really cheating. I'm not fully cheating. So overall, I'm giving it an A because yes, it was an A plus at the time we did it. I didn't care about a third round pick because we didn't have anybody, and we were just coming off of Cam Sutton, Jerry Jacobs, Khalil Dorsey, Kendall Vildor. We weren't coming off of having a secondary. And then you also saw part of Kirby Joseph's 9 picks was he wasn't freelancing and taking up for what's his name, Cam Sutton. He wasn't playing out of position because Cam Sutton was garbage, right? Cam Sutton, his man was getting by him. What did they call him? Sutton toast, right? So that allowed Kirby Joseph to play better. It also allowed us to move Brian Branch from the slot into the deep safety, the strong safety position. So I think it gave our defense a lot of flexibility. And that was the impetus of Brad Holmes saying it was going to be a bloodbath in that cornerback room. So I think, yeah, overall, I'm giving it an A. I would have kept it at an A plus, but of course, the knock on Carlton Davis was that he did have problems staying healthy. But the things that this wasn't the broken jaw thing wasn't something that he dealt with. This was kind of a freak type of thing. I give him more of a pass on his injury than someone else who we'll talk about later. So I'll let you go grab the next one. And
okay, let me throw something in there at the last second.
Go ahead.
See, this is a very difficult assessment for me because we're keeping it. All right, so let me refresh the question because I want to be clear, and then I can give you a different answer. Okay. So we're talking about the 2024 free agency draft, all of that stuff. We're not going to prior. So we're okay. So we're whatever we had when Carlton was traded for, that's what we're working with, right? Like,
yes.
Okay. That's tough for me. Okay. I'm going to change it, bro. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to give it a C-. I got to drop it because shout out to Dolo Dynamite in the comment section. We still had Cam Sutton. We still had Cam Sutton. He had not been released yet.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I'm looking it up now. We traded for Carlton Davis the 13th of March. We signed Cam got in trouble the 21st of March. And
he got in trouble. That's when the news came out.
Well, that's when he was cut. So maybe it was already done. So that maybe okay. If that's the case, then I go back to my original. But I don't know what day we got the news. I want to say, bro, it happened all within 48 hours. It happened very quickly. So okay, if Cam was not already in trouble, then I give it if he was not, I give it a C-. If he was, and we knew we had to move on, I give it a B+. But and that's only because, bro, of your very specific connotation. Because if it was, if we were going anywhere else, just a little bit in either direction, then I would grade it much, much lower. Not necessarily Carlton, but because of what our team needed at the time. But B+ if Cam was not in trouble, C- if he was, or whatever, which you know what I'm trying to say, whichever one it was. So that's where I'm at.
Well, with Cam was trash. So
he was, but he was trash, but he was still on the team and he was our starting corner. And we didn't have Terrion yet. So you would assume that. So before we traded for Terrion, did you think that and Cam Sutton got in trouble, or let's say Cam Sutton didn't get in trouble? Would you have expected Cam Sutton to start and Terrion? I'm sorry, Cam and Carlton. Would you have expected them to be okay? So who's starting opposite?
We were gonna get somebody else. We were gonna draft somebody else. We were gonna sign somebody. Cam Sutton was terrible.
He was.
We couldn't keep him.
Man.
We couldn't keep him. I might have quit. Okay. if you roll him out, you know what I'm saying? Again, I can't do that. No.
He was.
When did he say it was going to be a bloodbath? Did he say that after everyone was acquired?
Yeah. That was near like training camp, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Cam was terrible. The fact that they were willing to go out and get someone and give up draft capital, because everyone says that Brad Holmes doesn't give up draft capital and he loves his picks, but they go outside of the fact that Jameson Williams was picked number 12 after we had already picked someone, which means he had to give up draft capital to move up back into the first round to get Jameson Williams. Like, giving up draft capital doesn't just mean, oh, well, he waited to the draft and he used the draft picks. Well, you use the draft picks when you trade. It doesn't matter when you trade.
I just got one correction, bro. Rams won the Super Bowl that year, so they were technically still in the first round. I hate to be that guy. The
Rams won. Oh yeah.
So technically, it's a little.
But he had to package picks to move back up.
Yes, he did.
That's the point. But yes, I get what you're saying.
had to be a technicality right there.
It's all good. I don't think you're trying to be a narcissist or anything.
No, because if I was, then I would hit on every single pick. I would not miss a thing. And
and you would, the way that you read body language would affect Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell's the way that they're at the podium.
And the Lions would do everything based around me. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Right. And the Lions would they would change the time that they do their press conferences. because of you.
And we can go on and on and on.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. They would name their children because of you and all this. But anyway, you can go ahead, grab the next one.
Okay.
I mean, if I guess, we'll keep it in secondary.
Okay. You got a name, or you just want me to what something?
I want you to throw one out and ask me.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
We're snake drafting it.
Okay, I got you.
Spirit of Detroit, appreciate you, my guy.
Spirit of Detroit.
With the $10 super chat.
Appreciate it. We just did a show, man, the other day. Shout out to you, man.
Shout out.
Okay, off the top of the dome, I'm not so we're doing signings and releases. So no matter whatever move was made, a specific move. Is that what we're doing, or people that came?
Let's just do acquisitions. I think it's easier.
Okay. Acquisitions in the secondary. Oh, gotcha. Okay, here's one. If I had this on my soundboard, I would play it, but I don't. So I'm gonna do like our guy did. Bam, 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 bam. That is the Price is Right losing horn for the re-signing of, wait for it, Emmanuel Mosley. Got to give it to him. I give that signing, and I don't even know if they have E's anymore. I'll give it an F, because the dude had come off a season-ending injury in San Francisco. He had a season-ending injury in Detroit, and we still brought him back. And I understand depth. I get it. Every team needs it. We've seen that beyond a shadow of a doubt in 2024. But did he help the team? No, he didn't. Why? Because he had another season-ending injury. Emmanuel Mosley, big fat F, as big as you can make it. I'm talking about with magic marker on the board. If you follow the lines, F, F, F all the way across.
I'm going to shock you here. I'm not going to give it an F.
That don't shock me. Not one bit.
I'm going to give it an F minus.
I was going to give it an F minus, but I said, okay, Derek, you already going hard on him, bro. Give him a little pass. Okay, F minus, or just
minus?
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
3 minuses for emphasis.
Wow, I got you.
Now, so there is a reason that the move wasn't bad, okay? And I've already given him the F triple minus. The reason is because you paid him nothing, and he had value within the locker room as a mentor to Ennis Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold, the young guys. So just make him a coach, because he's not playing, right? He doesn't play football. I'd love for Emmanuel Mosley to be on the staff, providing his knowledge and helping the young guys grow and showing them technique. And, because they say those who can't do, teach. Well, you can't do anymore. Teach them. I don't have any problems with that. Okay. But for him to take up a roster spot and be, a healthy scratch and play 5, special team snaps this year, no, we can't have that. We cannot have that. So we don't need to spend too much time on Emmanuel Mosley.
Okay. Well, alrighty then.
Yeah, big disappointment. All right. Let's go ahead with the next one. And Amik the Freak Robertson. What do you think about that one?
I'm going to give him an A. I'm going to give him an A. And I'm going to tell you why I can't do plus. Simply because I think he played tough, but I think his skill and grit got him like Justin Jefferson. If you go back and you watch some of that tape, he was on him and then he wasn't. Like Justin is that guy, but I can't give him an A plus like it was flawless, but I got to give him an A. The dude brought everything that our team was about. And after that performance by Justin Jefferson that he was on, I mean, the biggest game of the season to that point, I like this. And if I'm not mistaken, Amik Robinson, he was the guy that picked off Patrick Mahomes earlier in the previous year when the Raiders played Patrick and them, and Patrick was winning all them games, and then he picked them off. And I was just like, this guy, it's something about this guy. So I got to give it an A, a solid A, no more, no less. I think Amik was the real deal. And unfortunately, we had to lose him. Played all 17 games. Had a bunch. He had 50 total tackles, but 40 of them were by himself. He had 3 forced fumbles. So it's very close to an A+. It's like right on the, if it was in something in between A and A+, I would give it to him. So I get it a solid, strong A, Amik Robertson.
All right. So I was gonna agree with you, but just to and shout out to Braylon Dennis. He said that Emmanuel Mosley gets an F minus. There aren't enough Fs. Maybe give him a Z. So I'll give it an A+ just because of the position versatility. When we needed him, when we lost Carlton Davis and we needed him to slide to the outside, he did it seamlessly, and he was better on the outside than he was as a slot corner. And it was to the surprise of the national media that doesn't know anything. If they knew anything about Amik Robertson, they would know that he wasn't playing a slot in Las Vegas. He was an outside corner. You know why he picked off Jordan Love to seal the game against the Packers? Because he was guarding Christian Watson, who plays in the slot. Oh, no, he doesn't play in the slot. He's an outside receiver. That's what Amik Robertson did. For those of us that cover the team as fanalists, shout out for that term that you taught me. Because I give credit where credit is due. Okay. We look into these players that we acquire. Okay. And the thing about Amik Robertson is that there was a little experiment. They tried to put him in the inside. There was something about the run fit, right? It wasn't great. Maybe was kind of reluctant to stick his head in there a little bit. And then they drafted Nate Hobbs, who was just a better slot corner. So they just went with it, and Amik was on the outside. But to be 100% fair to Amik, when he did come here and he was playing in the slot, the run fit wasn't a problem. He was sticking his head in there. As you said, he had 3 forced fumbles. He was peanut punching everywhere. So yeah, for that reason, the position versatility and what it allowed us to do against Justin Jefferson and not have to put Terrion Arnold on Justin Jefferson. Okay. Because while I do like a few of the things that I see from Terrion Arnold, I was crapping myself thinking that he was going to be the one on Justin Jefferson. But I would submit that AG had a corner who was eons worse than Terrion Arnold. His name was Jeffrey Oh Hell No Kuda. And there are still Lions fans that want to tell me that he, by himself, without safety help over the top for 99% of the game, locked down Justin Jefferson, which is false. It's patently false. Just go back and watch the game. Safety help over the top all game long. DK Metcalf called him out, and then he cooked him for 140 in a tud. So, yeah, A+ position versatility. All right. So I'll let you go ahead and grab the next one.
All right. Because they've already put it in the chat, and y'all know how I feel about the pass rush. Marcus Davenport. I will give Marcus Davenport, I'm going to be fair, I'm going to be reasonable. I'm going to give him a D. I'm going to give him a D. And the only reason I'm going to give him a D is because although I don't think he would have remotely lived up to his best season, I also don't believe whether he got hurt, how he got hurt in this particular instance, he was going to make it an entire season, because you brought it to my attention. And then when I looked at it, it was true that he had never played a complete season in his NFL career. So that was to me, that's a warning sign. And if so, if it's not, missing 1 game, 2 games, but you see people who play his position that go seasons playing entire games, and in 100 games miss 2 or 3. So for that reason, I'm going to give him a D instead of an F. I did not expect him to do anything when he was here. His best season was 9 sacks with the Saints. The Minnesota Vikings fan base, as a matter of fact, Minnesota Vikings Syndicate, who had seen him the year prior, called him, quote, a bum. All capital letters, end quote. And when we signed him, I remember very specifically waiting all day for Jonathan Greenard, even Andrew Van Ginkel, a Danielle Hunter, one of those names to be called. And I heard Patrick, I almost said his name, Marcus Davenport. So for that reason, I'm going to give him a D because I had no expectations from him and he did not disappoint. But because he did not, the way he got injured, the judo chop, I don't know if, I don't know how he could have prevented that, but I didn't expect anything from him and he didn't disappoint. So I got to give, and I want to say his name so bad, God, I want to say his name, but it's not about the 2023 season. Marcus Davenport, I got to give him a D.
All right. So as far as the Danielle Hunter thing, because I did hear this earlier today. Everybody remembered Danielle Hunter went home. Danielle Hunter went home. He's from Houston. Right. And he said that he went on record saying he would take a little less to go home. So we weren't going to get him. Brad did try to get him at the trade deadline, and Minnesota was like, nah, we good.
Mm-hmm.
We already gave you JMO. How dumb do you think we are? Right. So I could understand that one. All right. It's an F. Okay. It's an F. I won't give him an F minus. I said this, and I've been very, very consistent in saying this. Big believer in Marcus Davenport's ability. So he's a huge man, mammoth man, pause in all this, okay? Great stats, great ability to get like super violent, right? Aleem McNeil said I could hear him hitting people from across the, all that. Great. Everything that you want. Big non-believer in his ability to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this when we signed him. There were people arguing with me who thought that he would make it through the season. I don't know why they thought that, but this person also thought that the Kansas City Chiefs would not make it to the playoffs. People think things. But there was no reason for the signing of Marcus Davenport. And unfortunately, there are signs pointing to him coming back. I wouldn't be averse to him coming back on a veteran's minimum, playing 4 snaps a game. Because I think if you give him 4 snaps a game, okay, 3. Okay, I give him 3 snaps. Okay, if he gets 3 snaps, I think he can make it through the season. 4 snaps a little bit dicey. The judo chop, all that, great, fantastic. But here's the thing with Marcus Davenport. We knew it doesn't matter if he got judo chopped on the field or if he was walking down the stairs like Terrion Arnold and fell down the stairs. He would have hurt himself and been out for most of the season a lot of time anyway. The thing that pisses me off even more about Marcus Davenport went out in week 3. He was injured in week 2.
Yep.
How do you play week 1? That's so DeAndre Swift of him to play week 1 and somehow be injured for week 2 and miss the game. I was looking like I'm not kidding. Okay. Like a lot of people say stuff for shock value and they say stuff to be funny. I feel like sometimes I'm a funny guy. I can do it. And I'm not kidding though. I was watching for this man in week number 1 to see how he went off to the sidelines, to see if there was any limp, to see anything, right? And I'm like, cool, he made it through unscathed. And then he pops up on the injury report and doesn't play week 2. I was shocked. I was shocked because I didn't see it. I was like, where was the evidence? He misses week 2. So he only played 2 games this season. He goes out in week 3 with a what? A torn triceps?
Yeah.
Okay, guess who else tore their triceps?
Brandon Graham.
Week 6, and he played in the Super Bowl? Are you kidding me? In week 6. And there was not a single thought of Marcus Davenport coming back after he did that. They were like, oh, that's it. Out for the season.
And this is what Brandon Graham is doing now to the Lombardi. He kissing that mug.
For a second there, I thought it was a statue of glass and you were holding it up for Marcus Davenport.
They called me Mr. Glass.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
He definitely is that guy. He's a super villain on the Detroit Lions. So, yeah, he gets an F for me.
Okay. All right. I was trying to cut the brother some slack, man, simply because I had, I was hard enough. And sometimes I like to rant a lot. I be right a lot. I'm not trying to be narcissist, but, sometimes you got to take your laps. And when you talk about one thing, bro, as much as I have, and you're right about that one thing, you got to take your laps because, we in this space where everybody got an opinion and everybody wants to critique yours. And that's cool. It comes with the territory. But when you're right, and you say you predicted something for 4 seasons and your general manager continues to neglect it and properly fill the voids, then, and it all comes down to the team that properly filled those voids and handled business won the Super Bowl. You got to take your lap. So, yeah, I was being nice to him, but when we signed him, I give you the Danielle Hunter thing, but I mean, Andrew Van Ginkel, I was clowning the dude. I made a video saying this is a signing that Brad would make. Then I found out he was going to make $20 million and was like, what? No, Brad ain't going to do that. Brad, and it didn't happen. Did he try? I don't know. See, the thing about, and I don't want to stay too long on this, bro, but the thing about Brad is, I wonder is Brad the GM that cried wolf? But that's a whole different conversation because he can say what he tried to do, but did he really? That's what I'm saying. So I don't know, man, but I was very tough on God. I can't. Oh my God. I keep wanting to say this guy's name, man. I was very tough on Marcus Davenport, but I will cut him some slack only because of the judo chop. Outside of that, he would get whatever is beneath F. He would get that. He would get a Roman numeral. Like that's what I'm gonna get. I'd give him all of them combined. Just all. He wouldn't even get one of those letters. He'd get just a Roman numeral, bro. That's what I would do.
Well, what I'll say on Brad Holmes is there's a saying that where there's smoke, there's fire. Mm-hmm. If there continues to be conversation about, well, I tried that and I missed out on that and I missed out. Like if it becomes a pattern, then I feel you can be like, okay, did you really? Or are you just saying what you think we want to hear? Right. So, I'm gonna keep my eye out for that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm keeping my eye out for that.
Okay.
Because it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're not gonna fool me again.
Sign Broderick Martin. I'm done. That's it. That's right. I had to get it out, y'all. I had to say it. I have to say it. You cannot trade the 4th and 2/5 for a 96 pick and a guy that don't take the field when your defensive pass rush consists of Charles Harris, Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara. You cannot do that. Okay. I got it off my chest. I got it off my chest.
So here's the question that I'll ask you, because I know, right, we're all people.
Yeah.
What do you think did you do very well?
That I do very well?
Yeah.
I think I'm a good talker. I think I know, I know how to talk. Yeah.
All right. So imagine there is the Grammys, right? And they have you hosting the Grammys. And they be like, yo, Derek, we got this script for you. And you like, nah, I'm good.
Okay.
Right. And you bomb. And they're like, well, if you would have just gone on the script, and you was like, but I'm good at talking.
Right.
So it's kind of like he's good at drafting. He's good at evaluating talent. He's excellent at evaluating talent. So he just thought, I see something in this guy. Now, I'm not going to say that you get a pass for it. I'll just say I understand what you were doing when you reached for him, but I'm not going to excuse that that's what you did. I'm just saying, just like his thing with the injured players, because when you look back at his like car accident thing and they said he may not ever play again, and he beat the odds and he went out and played again. So I understand his affinity for injured players because he sees himself in them. But Marcus Davenport is unexcusable.
But you know what? You know what they would do though? So I bomb, right? And eventually they're not gonna call me back for the Oscars.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So okay, you got me. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I got it. Like I'm just okay. Giving the both sides of the coin. I got you. Because it's nuance for the fans. All right. All right. And then the next one, obviously, we're staying on defense. We went with the negative. Let's go somewhat positive, or not somewhat, but let's go positive. Let's go DJ Reader.
I knew you was gonna pick him. All right, DJ Reader. I got to give DJ Reader an A+ because he exceeded my expectations. He was the man that I based my entire clown suit, the entire D-line really was around the signing of him because, again, you touched on the injured players. He was coming off a season-ending injury. It was late in the season. The second one of that same type of injury. It was the same injury. I think they were 3 years apart. And
different levels.
Yeah, right. Yep. So I'm like, wow. Again, and this is not necessarily a DJ Reader thing. This is, I'm gonna be honest, this is a Brad Holmes thing. So I'm taking out DJ Reader. My frustration on Brad Holmes, I'm taking it out on DJ Reader. I got to give DJ Reader A+ because he had to get, for it to be a success for me, he had to play more games than he played last season, which was 12. He did that. He had to get more sacks than he did last season, which was 3 or 2. He wound up getting 3.5. It was one of those. And he wound up doing exactly what he was brought in here to do. So because of that, I have to give him an A+. I wasn't very fond of the move at the time, even though the picture was painted based on the stats and the film and all that stuff, what he was capable of doing. My thing was based off me being traumatized of other injured players and how they keep coming to this team. Would he be able to finish? And he did more than that. So I got to give DJ Reader an A+.
All right. Well, Freddie Wise gives Reader a D. He says because Reader wasn't old Reader. I feel like he wasn't old Reader because he was the only one left. Right, he was the only one left. There was DJ Reader on the defensive line. There was Jack Campbell in the linebacking core. At one point, there were the only 2 people in the front 7 that started the season, projected to start. So yeah, I'm gonna give DJ Reader an A+ as well, because when we did sign him, I was. Before Woodward Sports said anything, or maybe I was in the chat at Woodward Sports, I said, you lock him in the room, in the building. You do not let him leave. Okay? I said that. So that's exactly what they did. They didn't book him a return flight. The agent was like, I don't think they're trying to let you leave until you sign. And he got it done. Right? He got that done, and he did everything that he was supposed to do, just like you said. He also exceeded the sack numbers because a lot of people were saying, well, he's not going to come in and get a lot of sacks, which that wasn't really his role in particular. He's more of a run stuffer, but him and Aleem did form a formidable duo up front. But when you got Josh Pascal on one side and then you got – who else did they have?
I mean, it's any number of people. Like
who initially filled in? Was it Pascal that filled in Hutch's spot?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so then on the other side we had. See, I don't even remember the rotations. We had Levi.
Yeah, we had Levi because we were like practice squad poaching for that came after that. But yeah, initially it was, I want to say Levi whenever he was. I don't even know.
Yeah, so I don't remember who was over there. So when we watch this team, we talk about this team every day.
Yep,
and we don't even remember the people out there. So that tells you what DJ Reader was working with. It was him and Aleem and Pascal and a revolving door. Sometimes it was Levi. I mean, probably a little bit of Mitchell Agood, just whoever, whoever we could get our hands on. So yeah, I give DJ Reader an A+, just like you. All right, who you got next?
Okay, I am going to ask about. You know what? I'll stay. I wanted this one, but I'll give it to you. Jake Bates.
Oh, just freaking A+, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake Bates was the same to me as DJ Reader. You bring him, you lock him in the room. He's already been in Ford Field. I called him Jake Bates Motel because his leg is psycho.
Okay. Oh, bro, that's fire. That is fire, bro.
I wasn't running around talking about no boom boom Bates. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
That's fire. I would have had
Ghosty Ray in the boom boom room. You know what I'm saying?
I would have had that on a shirt for real. I could already picture it. That's fire, man. I like that. Yeah.
Hey, man. So yeah, I mean, he solidified a position that we lost out on. Like, we've been looking for a kicker that could do anything of consistency since Matt Prater left.
Mm-hmm.
So just to be able to, like, I'd be streaming games and like start talking to the chat during his field goals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not worried about it anymore. So shout out to Jake Bates. I hope he doesn't catch a case of the Moody's next year. Mm-hmm. It's not the Yips anymore. It's the Moody's.
Yeah. I don't think so. I gotta give him an A. I feel like I helped kind of speak him into existence, because the moment he hits that 64-yarder twice, I was like, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. Would you like to be a Detroit Lion? And I made video after video after video. And to my surprise, we actually signed him. But he had a role to play in that too. It was 4 teams that offered him a contract. And I think the Washington Commanders brought him in too. That would have been something to see. It was 4 teams, and I think Washington was on there. But I'm actually very surprised that Brad Holmes did it. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Brad I hate to say this, bro. He is my number 1 target this offseason. He really is, because I don't feel like, bro, there's any excuses. So when it comes to Jake Bates was a can't miss. You cannot let this slip through the cracks. He's already in Ford Field. He's already in Michigan. Just have him walk down to the office. Have him catch a shuttle, a Lion shuttle from Ford Field to Allen Park, and sign him. And so for him to do that as quickly as it was done was to me something that I was very surprised. But Jake Bates, man, and we done got our kicker, bro. I got a prediction. We signed him to a 2-year, $1.9 million deal. I think he gets paid this offseason. I think we're going to wipe out that second year, figure it out, and we're going to sign him to a multi-year deal sometime after March.
So you wouldn't bring Michael Badgley back as a free agent?
So I saw a video about, to me, I saw an article about why the Lions, why would we do, it makes 0 sense. None whatsoever. We didn't bring in, we brought in some dudes to work out. As a matter of fact, his XFL competition, the St. Louis Battlehawks kicker, we brought him in, but we never made a signing. We did sign Greg Joseph to the practice squad, and then the Giants came to get him. But a practice squad kicker we need. So if we want to put him on the practice squad, bro, absolutely. We could always use a backup, just in case. But outside of that, no, Jake, the Lions believed in him. Jake proved him right. And bro, he was like top 5 in accurate kickers, I believe. And by the time the season was over, he was at one point the best kicker in the league. Until he missed that, he started missing a little bit down the end, but he's up there like he's been playing like Justin Tucker. I think he's going to be the next Justin Tucker, to be honest with you.
I hope he's not the next Justin Tugger.
Okay, alleged. That stuff is
Tugger.
Has it been proved? I try to, I forgot all about that. I forgot all about that, man.
He's not Justin Tucker. He's Justin Tugger. Yeah. So, allegedly.
You gotta put that in, man, because people wanting to sue you if you
allegedly
say certain things. So allegedly, you know what I mean?
Allegedly, you're asking people to tug.
Yeah.
The old rub and tug. Yeah, I didn't understand that article at all. I was just like, what?
I didn't even read it. I just saw it was like, bloop.
I didn't read it either. Let's get to some of these super chats. Tactical Sport on the $4.99 super chat. He says, we are not re-signing Davenport. We are already wasting a spot on Broderick Martin. Of course, you had to throw that one in there. Yes, this is so you have to say Broderick Martin.
Hey, here's one that doesn't want to say. I don't mind saying it. I will say it. Oh man.
No, Tactical Sport. He always like every conversation comes to Broderick Martin.
My man.
Everyone.
My man.
All right, and Andre Collins with the $4.99 super chat says, if Davenport was a dog, they would put him to sleep. Ouch. Ouch.
Wow.
That hurts.
Yeah, that's
if you got a chat that you got or a comment that you guys want us to read, make sure you go ahead and super chat. It doesn't have to be $4.99, doesn't have to be $10. It could be $2. It is what it is, but it catches our attention as we're talking. So I want to make sure that I get to all of them. I think there was one, the Spirit of Detroit. We got to that one. Freddie Wise with the $5 super sticker. He didn't say anything. Okay. Guys, if you want to say something, say something. We'll read it out. In case people, and I'm going to expose this man because I believe it does. In case people don't know, the reason you don't see Broski Bear in here is because Broski Bear is a racist, and I blocked him from my channel. Well, he was in here making comments about fried chicken and grape soda. What happened?
Oh, no, I blocked him many moons ago. That's crazy. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Fried chicken and grape soda, because I said I was going to go get some snacks during the Super Bowl halftime. And then when I came back, I was talking about the snacks that I got, and he was like, oh, did you get some okra and black eyed peas? And I was like, yeah.
Oh,
we good.
Wow. He went there. He went there. Okay.
He went all the way there.
Wow.
No problem, Braylon Dennis. He says, thank you, Chef. Good riddance to Broski Bear. Hostage 42 is shocked as well. Yes. All right. So you gave me Jake Bates. So we did our free agent signings in the secondary. We did our free agent signings on the defensive line. Jake Bates was special teams. Is there anyone else of note that we need to get to before we get to the draft?
Of note, yes. I would say Kevin Zeitler.
Kevin Zeitler. What is your letter grade on Kevin Zeitler?
Man, I got to give him. Okay, we lost. He replaced Jonah Jackson, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the basis of my grade.
Intriguing. Let me see. Kevin Zeitler, I gotta give him like a C plus.
That's low.
I gotta give him because he missed a couple games. He was responsible for a couple. It all runs together, man. So I could be confusing one of these guys. I could be confusing Glasgow with him.
I think you're confusing Glasgow.
Right. Well, I mean, he was the oldest, not the oldest. He was, I don't know, man. To me, we didn't lose a lot, but we didn't. I don't know. I really, that's all I got on him, bro. I'm sorry. The offensive line. If your name ain't Penei, Sewell, or Frank Ragnow, it's like, but like I don't think that highly of Taylor Decker. I think he's okay, but I think he's a valuable piece to our old line being consistent. So I give him a C. I gotta give him a C, bro.
Berlin Dennis does not agree. He comes in with the $2 super chat. He says, giving Zeitler anything less than an A-, you tripping.
Let's go, B. That's the first
Right.
time Braylon has came with some smoke, bro. I appreciate that. I'm still
said it with his chest.
With his chest, man. Which he say what he feel, but I love it, bro. Well, I'm still giving him a C.
I'm definitely going to give Kevin Zeitler an A. The reason being, he did replace Jonah Jackson. I was not high on Jonah Jackson. There were people that wanted to bring Jonah Jackson back. I was like, for what? Jonah Jackson's injury numbers are going the wrong direction, right? Played a full season his first year, then missed 2 games, then missed 3 games, then missed 4 games. So what? Logically, he's going to miss 5 games next season. Wound up getting $17 million per from the Los Angeles Rams to go back and protect Stafford again. They said that Jonah Jackson was a better run blocker than Kevin Zeitler, but that didn't prove to be the case. Kevin Zeitler was, consistently in the 80s in the PFF grades for run blocking this season. I think he played at an all-pro level. There was concern when we did he miss the Bills game? Was it the Bills game that he missed?
Now.
Broder, what up, my guy? He missed a game, and there was like concern, like, are we gonna be like, what are we gonna do? And then they put in Christian Mahogany, and yeah, we'll talk about Christian Mahogany later.
You don't think he did well? You don't think he did well considering?
Who? Christian Mahogany?
Yeah.
No, I meant that in a good way.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. So I think, I'm gonna give Zeitler an A on that one.
Okay.
That's why we want to bring him back. Brad I guess he's going to give him a chance to shop the market. And the other thing, the reason he's getting a chance to shop the market, and another reason that it was an A, is because Jonah Jackson won all that money. We got Kevin Zeitler for 1 year, $6 million. So we got all pro production from Kevin Zeitler, which we never got from Jonah Jackson.
I was confusing him and Graham.
Glasgow kind of fell off towards the end of the year. So, that was what that was. But yeah, Kevin Zeitler, definitely going to give him an A. All right. So I think of note, that is what we have for the free agents. Let us move to the draft.
I'm going to have some fun with this.
So we'll just go the order of the draft picks.
Okay.
Number 1 was Terrion Arnold. What did you think of the pick when it happened?
When it happened, it's so much emotion behind this answer. Okay, let me try to contain Terrion. Just Terrion as a player, as the pick. You know what, bro? I have to plead the 5th.
You can't plead the 5th.
I gotta plead the 5th, bro.
You go through it.
Okay.
Go through it. Don't plead the 5th. Because I'm gonna tell you, I had multiple grades with this.
Okay. I think that I didn't give Terrion a fair shot because his general manager does what he usually does, which is he goes hard in the secondary. He's a cornerback secondary snob, and he completely disregarded the defensive line. And when he traded up to get Terrion Arnold after we had signed and traded for Carlton Davis. Now, yes, we did lose Cam the Bum Sutton, right? But how many times, how much are we doing before we address the most glaring? There was a point that the secondary was the most glaring part of the team. Now, and for the past few years, it's been that defensive line. So when we trade up to get a guy, and I think there was a few dudes sitting there. I don't got the draft board pulled up, but I'm thinking, I was thinking going into this draft, bro, that we might be ready since we're done with the rebuild and everybody, we're coming off the 2023 NFC Championship game, that we could possibly trade up to get or trade away that first round pick to get a guy of substantial value on the D line. So for me, I know it might have been better cornerbacks out there, but the fact that it was another cornerback, and when we get to Ennis, I'm really popping off. But for me, Terrion, it was like, why? Why? I feel like that we could have gotten a cornerback later, and he just continues to do. And this is before he even took the field. So I got a whole different view after that. So the pick itself, I had a problem with it.
Okay.
So a grade.
Yeah.
See, I feel bad because I don't want to grade Terrion based off Brad. And that's what I cannot separate the two, bro. So for me, like, I am stuck on the D line, and it's literally interfering with, I can't be fair to Terrion Arnold. I just can't. So, and same thing with Ennis. It's going to be the same. Ennis is going to be worse. His going to be worse. But that's, again, has to do with Brad.
So for me, my letter grade didn't come during the draft.
Okay.
I didn't dislike the pick. I didn't have a problem with the pick. I didn't care about the pick. My guy David, before I made the worst mistake in my podcasting career, okay, I was I was by myself, and I had one person watching the draft with me. I was streaming it. My channel was much smaller than it is now, which, it is what it is. But my guy David Bryson was with me.
DB
at pick number 19. I was finished with the draft. I did not care anymore. I didn't know what the Lions were going to do. I was ready to turn it off. I actually had to go somewhere, and I got up and started getting ready. When the Rams drafted Jared Verse, I didn't care about what happened in the draft I didn't care. So I came back, and I was about to leave. I had gotten ready. I was about to leave, and then they were like, "Oh, the Lions had traded with the Cowboys," and I was like, "All right, I guess I'll just see who they get." And they drafted Terrion Arnold, and I was like, "Congratulations, I guess. Welcome to Detroit." Nothing against you. I don't. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I felt about it. I know Quinyon Mitchell went a couple picks before him. That's somebody that I wanted.
Yeah, he went 22.
He went 22. I just, like I said, I was done with the draft at that point. So my overall grade for Terrion Arnold, as a former corner myself, as a rookie, I will give him a B. Because he's a rookie, because he had really sticky coverage, he needs to fix a couple things in his technique. The first thing he needs to fix is to trust his technique. That's number one. That's why he gets grabby and handsy, because he doesn't trust his technique. So if a receiver gets up on him and he feels like he's going to get beat, like Jeff Okudah, he starts grabbing. So that's number one. Trust your technique. And I think that'll come naturally as he has another full offseason working with the likes of Emmanuel Mosley, who's just a coach, not an actual player. And
you mean in year two?
Yes.
Well,
I'm saying
he'll hired as a coach.
He needs to be hired as a coach.
Okay. Yeah, because technically he won't be on the team.
Yeah, he's not a player. And the other thing that he just needs to do, he just needs to learn to get his head around and look for the ball. He gets his head around and look for the ball, he'll get interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Coverage is really good. Like, his coverage is sticky. I can't say that he doesn't have sticky coverage. But with those things, and that's why I say, getting, if any position needs 3 years, it's cornerback, right? If any position needs them, you're running backwards and reacting to what another human being is doing. Is difficult.
And that's why it's hard for me to judge him, bro. It really is, because he was on like the best wide receivers in the game. The dude came out the gate, and you got Puka Nacua. Like you come out, then you got Mike Evans. Then you got your game 3 was the Seahawks, I think, right? No, it was the Arizona Cardinals. So then you got Marvin Harrison Jr. Then it's the Seahawks, and then you just got all these guys. And then
DK.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, that's why I said I couldn't really be fair, because when I heard his name, he was already tainted for me. It was already taint, blood in the water. It was already there. And that's why once we drafted Ennis, it was a whole, explosion, fireworks. But just to kind of put this in perspective, after we traded up to get Terrion, who knows if he would have gone before this. But Jordan Morgan, an offensive lineman, went 25 to Arizona. Graham Barton, a center from Duke, went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Darius Robinson went to Missouri. He went to from Missouri. He went to Arizona. And then Xavier Worthy went where we would have picked at. I believe the Chiefs traded up because they were the Super Bowl champions. So had we stayed around, who knows how things could have gone. But you also have to ask yourself, could he have been there at 28? You know what I'm saying? So, and this is why he was already tainted for me, because of
Nate Wiggins would have been there.
Yep. And see, so we gave up. So that's where our 3rd round pick went. The other one, it went to gotcha. So for us to move up 4 spots. And when our defensive line, bro, continues to lack. So for me, a lot of this stuff already it's like baking a cake with the mold it's already a dent in the mold. It's already going to be, he already get a disadvantage to me. And it's unfair. It really is. But I agree with your assessment of him, but it's already unfair because of his general manager. I know it's mean, but that's just the way I am locked in to a pass rush. In my opinion, Brad has to do whatever it takes, because I don't know how you feel. Brad got 2 years before this fan base looked like that Muppet meme where the dude looking at you out the side of his eyes. He got 2 years before this fan base starts to look crooked at him, because at that point, bro, we're talking about 7 years, six seasons. He's going into year 7. If we don't make a Super Bowl, let me ask you, how you going to feel? We don't make a Super Bowl in year 7. We're going into year 7, which is, I want to say he might need a new contract, but we're going into year 7. We don't make a Super Bowl. How are you feeling? Just, whatever your honest answer is.
I'm be upset if we don't make it next year. Like, the thing is, so I look at what Brad did with the secondary last offseason.
2023.
This last offseason.
Oh, 2024. Okay.
Yeah, because he got 4 corners. I think that he's going to do something similar with the defensive line. Brad's approach to drafting was kind of one side of the ball at a time. And there's pros and cons, right? Yes, let's build out the offense and let's have a dominant offense, and that could help us to outscore people. But then your defense suffers, right? Then you go all defense without the offense, and then the offense suffers, and then you're looking like Pittsburgh.
So he lacked balance.
Yes. But then when you go balance, you could possibly be a perennial wild card team, or maybe a team that's on, just in the hunt. So when we came from where we were,
there you
covered go. Being bare the way that it was, I don't know, man.
There you go. That's why most Lions fans feel the way they do, because the cover was bare. And look how far we've come with, he taking $50 and making.
Oh, now we're here.
Okay, so year 5, we're here.
Go get Myles Garrett.
Okay.
F them picks.
That's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking you. And I know we got to finish the draft, but it's really good to get somebody else's input because I got expectations for 2025. And if we don't reach those as a team, then I think that, to be honest with you, man, to keep it $150, I think that's when the dialogue is truly going to begin about Brad Holmes, because it took 4 years for the fan base to really be like, for the dialogue to really begin on the D-line. That was when it didn't start, bro, until this season. Last year, we in the NFC Championship game, we lose that game. What do you hear? Oh, we're in a rebuild. We were ahead of expectations. That's what you hear. We weren't even supposed to be here, like we're Deborah Cox or something. Now, year 4, we got all of these expectations, and we don't get where we thought we were going to be. So now the fan base like, wait a minute, man, wait a second. Now you got year 5. And what are your expectations? So what, we happy to get back to a NFC Championship game? You know what? We did better than last year. And then what, right? You keep falling short. Something needs to change. And it might even be, I'm going to say something. I'm going to whisper it. We might have to consider Brad Holmes. I'm just saying, bro, because the NFL is about what have you done for me now? And Brad, don't act, somebody else could come in here and destroy it or take it over the hump. Let's not act like the same thing they want people to do with Jared Goff. We bring in Lamar Jackson, we're winning everything. We bring in Joe Burrow, we're winning. Jared Goff is so bad, all we need is a new quarterback. Forget about the defense. This offense showed you that the number 1 offense in the league, historically good, I'm talking about history in the making, was not enough. Now, if we beat Jaden Daniels, minus the 5 interceptions, do we beat the Philadelphia Eagles? Probably not. Probably not.
But you know why? You know why we don't beat the Eagles? We didn't have nobody left.
So do you believe if we were okay, but that proves my point though. We still had the number 1 offense with nobody on defense, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody I knew it, bro. I've been saying it beginning of the season. This offense is why we'll win. The defense is why we won't. Now, Jared Goff will take all the blame for that. Okay, fine. When it comes to the Eagles, when it comes to the Chiefs, you know, the Eagles made the Chiefs look like boo-boo the fool. Boo-boo the fool. Why? Because of the defense. Patrick Mahomes was mortal. They made him mortal. They were the kryptonite to Superman. Come on, bro.
So here's a question that I'll ask you. Because I find that on my channel, I'm fighting both sides of the Jared Goff battle. Okay. On one hand, I'm getting people telling me I'm Goff-phobic because I'm trying to tell them that when you turn the ball over 4 times, it's not a recipe for winning.
Correct.
It's not. I mean, y'all saw Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is supposed to be the best quarterback in the NFL right now, right? He threw a pick 6. He had a strip sack fumble. Both of those things Jared Goff did in the divisional round. Both of those teams lost. The only difference between the Chiefs defense and our defense is the Chiefs picked off Jalen Hurts 1 time, right? We gave up 5 turnovers and created 0. Okay. I'm like, it's okay to say that someone plays a bad game. It doesn't mean that Goff is a bad quarterback, right? Played a bad game. Patrick Mahomes, not a bad quarterback. He played a bad game, right? Some of those sacks were Patrick Mahomes' fault, right? Because it was like, I don't know, the pressure was coming off the edge, and he was like, yeah, I'm not even going to try to get around there. I'm just going to step into the pocket with the pressure coming up the middle. So there was a lot of things that you would usually see Patrick Mahomes do, but because he was rattled, I'm just going to duck underneath and go up the middle and run into the pressure. So that's the other side of the argument is that Jared Goff is trash and we need to play Hendon Hooker or, you know, we need to replace him. Like you said, like if we bring Lamar Jackson in, blah, blah, blah. Well, I would love Lamar Jackson, but in the realm of realism, you're not getting Lamar. or Josh or Patrick or any of these other quarterbacks that you want. So I've been asking people to tell me what is the succession plan, right? How are you? There we go, J Rod. What up, though, J Rod? He has a $5 super chat. He says, "Great show, you two together. Throw in Spirit of Detroit. I think the three of you together would be lots of emojis. Motor City." All right. So that's it. That's just the side. It's like, okay, well, and I think I'm the perfect person to have this argument because when Goff came in here, didn't like him, didn't want him in here. I was like, he needs to be on the first thing, smoking up out of here. He could be my starting bench quarterback, right? He evolved. And I keep saying, with new information, you're allowed to change your opinion.
Yep.
So there's like, you're either stuck that Goff is the greatest thing since sliced bread, or Goff is the worst quarterback ever. And I'm in the middle, like, no, see, he's great, and his season was historically great, right?
Yep.
But he had a bad game at the worst possible time, at the time where you're not playing another game next week.
Yep.
Okay. If he had a bad game against the Texans and we won the game, but if we had lost the game, it really wouldn't have mattered because there was a game next week.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So that's just my position. Like, I'm just fighting both sides of the battle, and I don't think there is a kumbaya. There's no one's gonna come to the middle and be like, yeah, he's not as bad as we think he is, or yeah, sometimes he is human.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he does make mistakes. The only thing, my thing with Goff is the punches and bunches. If you turn the ball over one time, fine. We can overcome that. But it's just the landslide. It's the 3 turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to sit down with JJ McCarthy's mental coach, and they need to meditate. That's all. If he changes that part of his game, because I don't know, I think it's pressing. I think after the first pick or the first fumble, then it's like he puts pressure on himself to make up for it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He's got to learn to stop doing that.
It's hard.
Once he learns that one turnover is fine because we can overcome it, especially the beginning of this season when we had a top 5 defense. Right?
What was that, game 1?
No, I think up until Hutch got hurt, we were a top 5 defense.
Our overall defense, yards per game, was top 5. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We reached that point because I was the one that went out on a limb. I was like, other people saying top 15, other people saying top 10. I was like, it's going to be top 5.
Wow.
And it wasn't something crazy like the Chiefs won't make the playoffs. I don't do hot takes. Okay. It's when I have a take, it's based off of my opinion, based off of facts and, not fancy. Okay. But since we did have that type of defense on paper, do you think, and this is a long-winded, because I said I had a question, all right, but on paper,
I'm still listening.
Do you believe on paper, and that's before injuries, that's even with Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport is allowed in this conversation.
No,
because he's on paper.
Wherever you're going, if it involves the defense winning Super Bowl, no.
Okay. I'm saying, do you think on paper, with a healthy defensive line, because beating the Eagles means stopping Saquon Barkley,
mm-hmm.
do you not think that defensive line on paper stacked up very well against Saquon Barkley?
See, that's tough because we ended the season top 10 against the run. We were top 5 for the majority of the season.
And that's what I'm saying. That's because of all the injuries. That's why I'm asking you this question. So I'm saying on paper.
Well, you know what?
We dropped in a lot of categories because we had Ezekiel Turner and AQM and freaking Quan Alexander and Jamal Adams coming in, turning into a linebacker after being on his couch.
I got the perfect response.
Okay.
Ask me the question again. So I can remember.
On paper, with a completely healthy defense, do you think that we would have been able to stop Saquon Barkley and the Eagles?
I thought I had the perfect answer, but when you kept going, I was like, nope, that's not the question. I honestly don't know. Let me tell you why. When Saquon Barkley was with the Giants and we played them back in 2022, he was the leading rusher when we played them. Up until that point in the season, Saquon Barkley was the NFL top rusher, but he was playing behind the Giants offensive line.
Right.
The Eagles are, in your opinion, the best offensive line in the league, or are we better, or top three? Where would you place them at?
The Eagles, I think. Am I allowed to say this?
Yeah.
Let me look at my concurrent viewers.
Oh, I already
the
know.
Eagles have the number one offensive line.
Number one offensive line behind arguably top three. Saquon was killing it. 2,000 yards. Isn't enough to stop him. I don't know if it is, because how often did our defensive line go against a top offensive line? And that
but you can only do that once.
No, I mean, okay, like I'm talking about like top 5, top 8, top 10. Like how often did we? So we're stout against the run, but what kind of O-lines were we playing? You get what I'm saying? Like we're playing. I don't know, because I didn't really dive into the stats like that, but how many bad offensive lines were we playing that we were dominating? Because you need those offensive lines to create some of those holes, right? The pulling, the open up the middle, all that other stuff. So I can't really answer that. I would have loved to have seen that, but when I was going to answer when I first heard your question, I'm thinking of immediately, they might not have had to use Saquon. You know why? Because Jalen Hurts, all he got to do is step back. That's it. We wouldn't have sniffed the dude. Jalen Hurts. So Saquon might have had 50 yards. What do you have? 80 something. Whatever. He might have had 25 yards because they maybe never have to run, because even at the end of the season, bro, that was still a strong suit. It wasn't as strong as it was at the beginning of the season. Once Aleem went out, it was over. And once the Bills like roasted us from that moment on, we never were the same. But if Saquon, you might not even need the brother, because all Jalen got to do is RPO it. And he gonna run past somebody, stand back there while Muhammad and what is it, Darius Smith and Josh.
See, that's what you're talking about. This I'm talking about the beginning of the season's defensive line when everyone was healthy.
Everyone was healthy.
There was no AQM or Zadarius.
Okay, so let's
and you can even have Marcus Davenport.
I think that's worse.
I think Marcus Davenport healthy is worse.
Oh no, what I'm saying is you put in Aleem McNeil and you add Marcus Davenport. We don't even have a big enough sample size to see what they
Davenport. You know what? Davenport was doing well in the 2-1 and a quarter game that he played. He had a decent. His first game was good. His second game was non-existent. Well, his second game was week 3.
Define good. What would we call good for Marcus Davenport?
I mean, he wasn't Hutch, right? No, he's not.
He
has some pressures. Did he have a sack?
Yeah,
I know. No, he didn't. He got his hands on Stafford a few times.
Yeah, he recorded half a sack. They gave him half. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one game, half a sack. You know, that's a sample size. You know, if he gets a half a sack every game, he has what, 9? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, yes. Exactly 9. 18 games, which is his career high. Hey, that's a win. If he would lead the team, well, Hutch would have 20-something. The discrepancy between the two would have been ridiculous. But
Hutch might have broken the record.
I think he would have.
Yeah, because he looked like he was on pace to do that. Now, was it going to be one of those you broke it with 17 games, or did you break it in 16? Because I don't really respect the ones that you break in 17.
Well, get ready for 18. Get ready for that. So you throwing all that out the window.
they should put an asterisk on it. Like,
I agree.
You know, just like, okay, Saquon Barkley with 18 games he's going to rush for damn near 3,000 yards.
He did do his 2016 though. So
he did his 2016,
yeah.
but if he was going to break the record, it would have came in 17.
That is true. That is
because
true.
he didn't play that game.
Yep.
But then what I will say about that situation is if you go back, even when that second season, when we started off 1-6 and Sheila had to come down and talk to the fans and we finished 9-8, leading the turnaround was the run defense.
Yeah.
And we had lesser guys then than we have now. On paper, the guys that we have now, we have them on paper. We don't have them because they were all injured. So that's at the beginning of the season when people were, oh, Eagles. I'm like, I don't care nothing about the Eagles because we stopped the run. Right. So when it was like, oh, when the teams were, coming out hot and people would start, oh, this might be the NFC Championship matchup, blah, blah, blah. I don't care nothing about that. Bring the Eagles on. I don't care. I said, because Saquon Barkley is good. But one thing I didn't believe, and I'll say I was wrong in this, I didn't believe in Saquon's health because he was always injured in New York.
But you got an offensive line like the Giants got. I mean,
some of those injuries, he might have been like, yeah, I could play this. I could, but I'm not going to because y'all gonna get me killed. I understand it. As someone who cussed out his offensive line in the middle of a game, I understand it. Okay. I pulled a Willie Beeman on him. You ain't go black. You get the hell out the way. I did do that. I promise you. I did.
Oh my goodness, he dropped a Willie Beeman.
Hey, yeah, Willie I think it was after I saw the movie too. So I can understand with Saquon, but yeah, I think I didn't know how this secondary was gonna do. Who do you put Terrion on? Do you put him on AJ Brown? Do you put him on Devontae Smith?
And we lost the Meek at that point too. He was done.
Saying like if you're comparing the rosters,
okay,
from on paper, right? I think you put Carlton Davis on AJ, and then you put Kirby over the top of Terrion with Devontae Six, as they call him.
The Bama boys duke it out. I agree.
Yeah. Yep. So it wouldn't have looked like the Super Bowl.
I don't think it would have looked like the Super Bowl, but I think even I'm gonna be real, man. Even with this, people keep acting like we just lost all of these people. Now at one point we had Alexander Zaloni out, all the Carlton Davis by the end of the season, and I really don't want to look at the. See, we were winning games. Winning games. So if you talk about the injuries when we lose, what does that mean when we were winning? Right? Like to me, it's like, okay, well, we were waiting on the injuries to fall back on. But if I just don't think that, I think the Lions, because I don't remember where we were in 2023 against the run, but we've been pretty good against the run for the past 3 seasons. I mean, like you said, when Sheila came down, they turned it around. We was trending historically bad to like really, really good, but it was so bad we couldn't make up all that space. And then Carolina runs all over us. And then we got it together, right? And wind up making that push. We needed some help from the Seahawks. Then we take that into year 3, play pretty well. Then year 4, run defense is solid. But what I think would have happened was, no matter who was on the team, I honestly think that they would have just set back and, I don't know, man, because I feel like Aleem McNeil was enough to cause some havoc. I just don't think the other side of Aidan would have. I don't buy Marcus Davenport. If Marcus doesn't go down, we don't trade for Za'Darius. And I think Za'Darius is better at doing what he does than Marcus is doing what he does. I have no faith in the edges on this team past Aidan Hutchinson. No faith at all in the practice squad guy, Pascal. If you put Levi out there, wherever you put those 2 guys, I have zero faith in them. None. And I don't think that they make a difference on this team. It doesn't matter. I think that Jalen would have just sat back there. He would have RPO'd, which we cannot stop, or he would have just dropped back and passed.
I don't disagree. I don't have any faith in it. Why do you think I'm telling you to F the picks and trade for Myles Garrett? I'm looking at Jared Verse. I'm like, you know what? This year, he might not have been the rookie of the year on our team because he probably would have got hurt too. I mean, I just, but I think the injuries we had enough momentum in the season. We were plugging enough holes in the season. We were riding the momentum of the season that we were having, the energy. I think it was enough for us to get through the regular season. Now, when
you got 615 subscribers, by the way, 615, bro.
Oh, appreciate y'all. Appreciate.
The reason I know because I keep going back to the chat on here and
okay,
pop up. Yeah,
I got it over here.
Okay, let's go.
But I don't think it was enough to get us through the playoffs.
I agree.
I was watching the game, the Super Bowl. I was watching the NFC Championship game and was like, with this current roster, with the injuries that we have, there's no way that we were stopping Saquon.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. So, and if they did stop Saquon, they would have had to do what the Chiefs did and commit so much to stopping him. And then that would have, you don't have Carlton Davis. You don't, you know what I'm saying?
You're
missing people.
Yeah.
So that, AJ Brown goes off. Devontae Smith goes out, like it wouldn't have been good.
It would have been a straight, like, it to me, bro. I don't know. Let me ask you real quick. Which one is worse? We get to the NFC Championship this year, and because of injuries, we can't even match up with the Eagles. Like, at that point, we would have to be flawless. Like, we would have to score on like 7 out of the 10 possessions, and they got the number 1 D, so that ain't happening. So what would have been worse? Making it to the NFC Championship game a second consecutive time against the Eagles, losing, or going back to 2023 and losing that game?
Losing to CJ would have been worse.
Ooh.
Wow. Losing to CJ would have been worse. But even with the team in the state that it was in, that game, and they can say, I don't 100% buy it that they were fueled by the three-peat talk. Do you need extra motivation? You're in the Super Bowl. What motivation do you need other than that? Fueled by this, I don't want to hear that. What happened was they hadn't done that. They didn't do that to Jaden Daniels. They didn't do that to Matt Stafford. What happened was Kansas City Chiefs offensive line is not very good. They rushed 4. That means every man beat the man in front of him. That was it. So even with this current team, I mean, defensively, we would be inefficient and probably ineffective.
Mm-hmm.
However, offensively, our offensive line is there. The thing is that we're the best or we're the second best. It's either the Eagles or us.
Yeah.
Us or the Eagles. There's no debate. Right? Josh Sweat's not beating Penei Sewell.
But he the best in the game.
He's not.
Who is?
Josh Sweat not better than Aidan Hutchinson?
No, I mean Penei Sewell, bro.
Oh, Penei. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's between him and Lane Johnson.
Yeah, he was mad because he didn't make a All Pro or something like that.
He didn't make All Pro, or he was second team All Pro, and Penei was first team. And so I don't think that I don't think it looks like the Commanders game because the Commanders look like they weren't even supposed to be there.
They weren't
because they weren't.
I told you they weren't. Nobody's supposed to be here. That's how it was, man.
Yeah, they were. We were supposed to be there. CJGJ doesn't make the comments that he makes before that game because he didn't. He made it before the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no extra motivation, no extra bulletin board material. It wouldn't have hurt to lose to CJGJ at that time because he hadn't come out and said all that stuff. You know what I mean? So if any fans that he still had in Detroit, he would have still had them, and then he would have burnt the bridge.
Yeah.
Because he's never seen a bridge that he didn't want to burn.
Yeah. He the one that burned the bridge and then throw away the matches like he didn't do something.
Right.
I didn't do. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's hiding his hands.
Yeah.
Wasn't me. But if we offered him money, he would come back with his tail between his legs, just like he did in Philly. Oh, I'm so sorry, Detroit. I just know I was emotional. It's the same thing you did in Philly.
Oh.
All right, let's get to your favorite pick, second round of the draft. In this race draw, take it away.
Just why? Again, something I cannot. Bro, seriously, why? Why did we draft in his rake straw? What was it, 60th overall? Why did we take 61st? Why did? If you can answer that question for me, why?
I can answer the question, and I can say it's because he wanted to completely revamp the secondary.
And what
he said it was going to be a bloodbath, huh?
What had he been doing up until that point?
Well, look, he didn't do anything with the second up until that point. Like, what are the moves that he made?
Okay, let's go through it.
He came in, he inherited Jeff O'Hell No Kuda, burnt toast ass Okuda.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started because it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
The north and the south and me gonna come out.
Look, go right ahead, bro. Go right ahead because we passed on Justin Herbert for him. So yeah.
I'm not a fan of Justin Herbert.
Better than
Justin Herbert doesn't win.
Yeah, look at his team. Look at his coach up until Jim Harbaugh.
He was up 28-0 versus
I got
Goldilocks.
I got some thoughts on that, but I'll keep
Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yeah.
You couldn't get, and they lost. What was the score? You couldn't score 3 points. Three.
Yeah.
In the second half.
They're kind of like the Vikings came back.
I feel like for me, my opinion of Justin Herbert is he's Matthew Stafford in Detroit until he proves otherwise.
Okay. All right, that's cool.
So we're drafting Matthew Stafford's replacement with Matt, and we're replacing him with Matthew Stafford. I don't know.
Okay, so I made a video. I can't pull it up right now, but we did. Let's just off the top of the head and help us out in the chat. You and while we were saying the secondary, and that includes safety and cornerback, right?
No, because he didn't do anything with safety.
No. I mean his 4 seasons.
Oh, okay, all right, fine. Okay,
his 4 seasons. Are we including safety and cornerback?
That's fine. We can do that.
Okay, so secondary. And while we're saying this, in the back of your mind, think about what he did to the D-line. Okay? Ife Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph, Carlton Davis, Ennis Rakestraw, Terrion Arnold, Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton. Did I say Brian Branch?
No.
Brian Branch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many of those are solid guys? Have made somewhat of an impact on our team.
Well, the fact that the 2 most solid guys are not first round picks is so when I said that he was like completely trying to revamp the secondary, I mean, he just all in one offseason did a bunch of. If he did this, what he did in this offseason, if he does that this offseason with the defensive line, are you happy?
If he does what he did in 2024 with
with the defensive line.
Okay, 2024 probably not.
Why?
Because in 2024 it was Amik, Emmanuel.
No, forget Emmanuel. Emmanuel was
no. He counts, bro. He counts.
But that's a one that doesn't matter. He didn't bring him. He didn't bring Emmanuel in here to make anything better except for coaching.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
He took a risk. He was like, because look, when we signed him, he was like the number 1 corner on a top 5 defense out of San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
For 5 games. So when we signed him and then he was coming off the injury, cool, because when you get him back, he's going to be that dude. Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Then he plays 3 snaps and injures himself again.
But you use the key word risk. Brad Holmes.
Right, but I don't. When I say the revamping of the secondary, I don't include Emmanuel Mosley. I don't think he was part of the even when he was healthy, quote unquote.
Mhm.
What snaps did he take away from anybody? I don't remember him covering a single receiver this season.
He's a roster spot. He's a roster spot though, in a team that's trying to win games.
Okay.
In a position that's weak.
Take out Emmanuel Mosley,
please. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, because let's not forget, we signed Emmanuel Mosley in year 3. What did you think he was going to be in year 3?
When we re-signed him?
No, when we initially signed him in year 3 off Brad.
I thought he was going to come back and be a dog.
Okay. All right. So now you see where my disdain.
But in year 3, that mattered. In year 4, no one cared. They were like, well, how much they pay him? $1 million? Okay, that's fine. Like he was forgotten.
Okay. All right. He was
Broderick Martin of the secondary.
Here's why we got to add him in, right? Because do you think that he would have been okay? At the very least, he's coaching, right? He's kind of one of them player coaches.
Yes.
Do you think that if he was healthy in 2024, he would have played meaningful snaps?
If he was healthy, yes, he would have played meaningful snaps.
Okay, so
he was trending that way in training camp until he tore his pec.
Okay, so to me, that's why it matters, because
it's $1 million.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I follow you. This tells you how bad our D line. Now, okay. So who are our 2 impactful players that you brought? You said it was 2 impactful players, right? Out of all the guys I mentioned.
Okay, so I was saying I was looking at draft picks. So I was looking at Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. And I said two of those guys, they weren't even first rounders, right?
Very true. Correct. Yeah.
So if we're saying all the impactful players, then we have 4. We have the 2 safeties and the 2 and 2 of the corners.
Okay.
And there's a incomplete on Terrion Arnold because he's a rookie cornerback.
What are we
shows flashes of ability?
If he falls, where does if he fall in?
At this point, man, and shout out my Nigerian brother, you know what I'm saying? Because I did my 23andMe and I just did a DNA test. Turns out I'm 50% Nigerian. So Iffy, man, he's great, but just can't stay on the field. I mean, he got injured like this. Quiet as it's kept, nobody's talking about this. He got injured in the divisional. He left the game and didn't come back. And then who went in for him?
I don't know. I was in the stands. I couldn't see nothing.
Feel like it was Vildor, possibly.
And I get 0 coverage.
No. It wasn't Vildor. Because Vildor was already in for a meet. Somebody came for him. Morris freaking Norris.
The guy we had just signed. Like you just brought him in a little bit before.
Yeah, he was with us in training camp, and he was drafted as a cornerback. Well, he was an undrafted free agent. Sorry, he wasn't drafted. He was an undrafted free agent out of Fresno State. He played corner at Fresno State, and then they changed his position to safety during training camp.
Okay,
and then they cut him. And then they brought him back, and yeah, he was playing snaps in the NFC divisional game for Iffy.
Okay, all right. So I hear you, and I'm with you to an extent. Now let's compare those guys to the moves that we made on the defensive line, not in draft and free agency, right? Josh Paschal, Aidan Hutchinson,
2nd round pick.
Yep. Levi.
Aidan Hutchinson, 1st round pick. Levi was a 2nd round pick.
James Houston.
James Houston was 7th round pick.
6th round pick.
6th round pick. Okay.
Mekhi Wingo.
6th round pick.
Free agency. DJ Reader. Marcus Davenport. Wind up Charles Harris. We going all the way.
Charles Harris gave us 1 season. He gave us 1.
That's what made but that season didn't mean nothing because we were 3-13-1, right? Okay, so you start looking at the grand scheme. The grand scheme, he put to me, in my opinion, he put a lot of assets into the secondary where he actually kind of thought this stuff through, traded up for Terrion, take Ennis Rakestraw in the second round when you got you at this point, Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson are already on your team. In the defensive line going into year 4, you bring in Marcus Davenport and DJ Reader. Those are your game-changing moves on top of losing Romeo to retirement, Julian because you didn't want to re-sign him. Like, where are if you take out Hutch, McNeil, and Reader, what else you got? I'm talking about entire draft, his entire tenure as the Detroit Lions general manager. You take those 3 people out, what else you got? And we talk about 4 seasons.
But my that's why I asked you the question. As if he this offseason, if he spends a first round and a second round pick on the defensive line after already trading for, well, you can't trade for Myles Garrett because you ain't gonna have them picks.
You could.
Let's say
you could give
he
up
trades for who does he trade for? Who's our Carlton Davis on the defensive line? All
right, here's what I do. Cleveland is stacked at picks. They're not, they need a quarterback because Deshaun is not him. Nobody thinks this class is worth 2 cents outside of 2 dudes, and they barely giving them any praise. Cleveland
Hendon Hooker.
Nope. Cleveland waits. They're gonna take a watch this year. I think Hendon goes to New York. I think he goes to the Jets. I think the Jets trade for him. They also need a quarterback. You're not gonna bring back Sam Darnold. You're getting rid of Aaron Rodgers. Like who could you see going over there? But that's another topic. So you bring in, they're gonna wash. It's gonna be a wash. You're gonna play with whoever you got. I don't know. You get a practice squad dude. They're gonna suck this year. There's no doubt about it. You got a lot of picks. Trade away Myles Garrett. You get a first. You follow the Stafford plan. You get a first in 2026, a first in 2027, maybe a player, maybe a pick. That would leave the Detroit Lions with the first round pick this season. Very similar to how the Rams had it when Stafford initially was traded. They had it that first. No, they didn't. They didn't have it.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have it. Okay, so check that. But Cleveland, they got a boatload of picks. The reason the Rams could do that is because they were already short picks. Like they were just giving picks away. So Cleveland got at least 10 picks, at least. So knowing I'm a suck, knowing I need a quarterback next year, I don't like the ones this year. I want the future quarterback. So I don't want a 3rd, 4th round. I want somebody coming out of college in the first round, right? So what I do, I trade Myles Garrett 2 first next year, the year after. If I'm Brad Holmes, I see if I can lure Khalil Mack to Detroit. You already got Zadarius Smith under contract, and you draft somebody in the first round. If he does that, but to answer your question, Brad cannot miss. He's missed enough. He cannot miss. You miss on Josh. You miss on Levi. You miss James Houston is a 6th round pick. I'm gonna cut him some slack. Everybody thought he was gonna be the man. Yeah, 6th round picks. You don't just become dominant. Not everybody's a Max Crosby 4th round pick that everybody wants their hands on now. So he gonna have to hit very early on. We have no. Go ahead.
It's because of how he drafts that we expect these. It's like because he's him drafting 6th and 7th rounders that have actually contributed to this team is like more than any other GM that we've had.
I agree.
And we expect them now. We be like the 6th round pick. You supposed to be something. But that's why people were mad.
I don't expect that. I don't. Yeah. Rodriguez a pleasant surprise. Makai Williams, didn't expect. Everybody was like, "You gonna do your dog?" I'm like, okay, fine, show me. James Houston. He come out. He got all these sacks in all these games, and everybody started loving. He the best. People's calling him better than Hutch. Chase Lucas, Jamar Jefferson, Antoine Green. No name 7th round picks. They haven't done anything for this team. So what I mean by he can't miss. First couple of rounds between free agency and the draft, those first 3 picks, you cannot miss. You better be glad you got a comp pick for Aaron Glenn. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a pick until like the 5th round. So you cannot miss because you missed on Broderick Martin. You missed on Levi. You missed on Josh. You miss. On that D-line, you miss. Outside of Hutch and Aleem McNeil in free agency, and I'm putting this to the chat and to Motor City. outside of Aleem McNeil, Hutch, and DJ Reader, who is on that defensive line that's worth anything?
That no one. That's why we
Exactly. And that is why I am holding, and that's why but on the secondary, you got you brought in, you draft Kirby, win. You draft Brian, win. You trade for Carlton Davis, pretty good. You got Amik Robertson, pretty good. You draft Terrion Arnold, he gonna be all right. So right now, your secondary seem to be okay. You got to feel.
That's my question. That's why I said if he did that from 2024 for the defensive line now this year, would you be happy?
If he did that,
yeah.
That means
because that's what I think he's gonna do. I think he's going to focus on the defensive line. It's the last piece.
But can he miss though? Will Brad Holmes do what he did with Broderick Martin? Will he do?
I don't think he will miss because apparently this defensive line class is super deep.
Okay, but so who we taking at 28?
I don't care. I don't want a pick at 28. I want Myles Garrett at 28.
But we talking about Brad Holmes, and we know you and me both know he ain't.
Listen, I don't. You know what I'm saying?
You're like, I'm with you, bro. I am saying, go get this guy.
I don't. The thing that I'm saying, and I try to tell people because they're like, "Oh, picks." I'm like, what pick is it? We're not getting Abdul Carter.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting the people that are top 1 to 10. So you're not gonna get what Myles Garrett can bring you.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe Abdul Carter is Myles Garrett in 5 years. Guess what? Everyone's afraid of losing everyone. Oh, we got to pay this one. We got to pay that one. We got to pay the third one. So we're going to lose everybody. So do you have 5 years for Abdul Carter to turn into Myles Garrett? No. So go get Myles Garrett. Hell, even get Max Crosby. Apparently there's some things about him, possibly being available, whatever. At this point, I don't care. Go get me, Myles Garrett. Go get me Max Crosby. Get me Trey Hendrickson. But you probably won't get Trey Hendrickson because Trey Hendrickson wants a new contract. And he's been very, on the record as wanting a new contract. This is why he asked out of Cincinnati last year. Go get me Khalil Mack. Get me somebody who sacks the quarterback in the NFL.
So what does he need to do? So, okay. Trade for this is what would make me, this is my dream scenario. Trade for Myles Garrett, keep this year's first, take any defensive end that's there. Do not take a cornerback. Don't take an offensive lineman. Don't do it because you did that this year. Even though they was in the 6th round, later on, perfect Myles Garrett, Khalil Mack in free agency. At this point, re-sign Marcus Davenport. I don't care at this point. If he's not starting, fine. Because we see what happens when people go down. Okay. Draft somebody. Yeah. Pass me, give me those 3 guys, and I'll feel better. I still feel like it might be a little bit work to do. You know what I'm saying? So you draft somebody. To me, if it's up to me, I'm taking with the 60th pick, a defensive end. Best one on the table. With the 28th pick, a defensive end. Best one on the table. Okay? Because I don't want to hear nothing about a DT when we got Broderick Martin. That you traded
up double down.
Huh?
He's gonna double down. He does it every draft.
He has no choice, like you said. In free agency, trade for Myles Garrett. You ain't gonna have to worry about that till next season. The dude is under contract for 2 seasons. He's not thinking about money right now. Okay.
And they're not guaranteed.
28 defensive end, 60 defensive end. Khalil Mack, I'm happy. Now we're talking. You need a DT? Broderick Martin, put him in. I don't want to hear. You traded up to get him. Don P, you traded up. He's a project. We're in year 3. Where you at?
Listen, we're in year 3, and this is when he's supposed to play.
Bingo.
This is when he's supposed to play.
What is my issue? He was sitting there at 96. You traded up to get him. He was sitting there in round 3, in round 4, in round 5. Who knows where Broderick Martin would have gone? But we gave up. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, I said this in my video yesterday. You want to know who a 4th round pick was that we gave up? Who right now that's in the heavy rotation defensive end mix that could be a game changer for any team was a 4th round pick. Everybody's favorite hometown hero, Myles Garrett. I'm sorry, Max Crosby. I was on one and messed it up. Doggone it. Being 45 sucks. Anyway, that's where I'm at, right? So what did we lose in trading for a guy who did nothing? And now we're down to DT. And oh my gosh, we need a DT. Do we now? We got Broderick Martin. I don't want to hear it. There ain't nothing he can say to me that would make me understand why he would take a DT in the first 2 rounds. Unless this guy is Jeffrey Simmons, Quentin Williams, Deron Payne, Chris Jones, why is he getting drafted when obviously you need some defensive end? Because there's somebody on YouTube going around saying that the interior pressure is, all this other pass rush by committee was supposed to work. So now they didn't flip the script and now it's interior pressure. They just go with the flow, whatever is happening. But that's where I'm at, bro. That's where I'm at.
So here's my thing. This is the question that I pose to everyone who doesn't want to trade picks, which Brad Holmes does every draft because he moves around the draft board. So he's always trading picks. That's the thing that people aren't understanding. But Draft Holmes is what I call him. Draft Holmes. He has told you guys already. Free agency is for filling holes. Draft is for acquiring talent. So he's going to go BPA. What if he does decide that sitting there at 28 is dominant defensive tackle who slid, and
I can already tell I'm about to pop off. Keep going though.
Okay. Dominant defensive tackle who slid, or pretty decent to good defensive end.
How dominant we talking about?
Dominant, but he got some Jalen Carter issues.
I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad. I can't be mad at that.
That's what I mean by dominant.
I can't be mad at that because you're talking about Jalen Carter got the potential to be Chris Jones. He got the potential to be one of them after this rookie contract is up, one of them breaking the bank type guys. So I'm not mad. We get that guy. And let's not forget, we're not talking about, and I hate to do this because the guy plays for our team. What would you say, Don P, is the average, what is the expected kind of sack rate or sack amount of the average defensive tackle? What number? Defensive tackle. What would you say? If they get this many sacks, that's crazy. They balling, right? What is the average you would say?
I mean, Aleem it depends on the type of DJ Reader is a run stuffer, so you're not going to expect sacks from him. Aleem McNeil, he got hurt last year, but he only missed 4 games. But where he missed the 4 games, he had 5 sacks. Dexter Lawrence, who was balling, I think he had 9. So let's say 7.
Okay. If you are drafting that dominant defensive tackle at 28, my hope would be that he is a sack getter. That would be my hope.
You're not drafting a run stuffer.
That would be my hope. But we are talking about Brad Holmes, and that's why I'm where I'm at, because up until, like you said, you know what he's going to draft. But I'm to the point now where I'm like, yo, it ain't my job on the line. I am going to talk about the team no matter who coaching it. I'm going to talk about the team when Sheila Hemp ain't the owner no more, the Ford family, if they ever decide to, let the team leave the family, which I doubt. I'm going to talk about the team when Brad Holmes is no longer the general manager. I'm going to talk about the team when Dan Campbell is no longer the coach. And when Jared Goff is no longer the quarterback, I'm going to be around. It ain't my job to fix this team. Right. So that's why I'm where I'm at. You have had 4 years. You have brought us from the depths of despair to the top of the mountaintop. I ain't ready to go back down just yet. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the summit, and then we can talk. Let's stay up there a while. When the air get thin, then we can step down a little bit. Go back down to base camp, catch our breath, and we going back up. He is right now. I'm mark my words, bro. He got 2 seasons before this fan base started to look at him a little differently.
I'm just gonna say you got too many plans. You give me Myles Garrett, I don't give a damn what you do after that.
See, we so ravaged though, bro. We are ravaged. Let me ask you. You think
we would need depth. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, if you give me Myles Garrett, I'm done.
All right. So you don't got nothing else. You don't have no other scenario. That's just it.
No, I'm saying if you give me Myles Garrett, I'm just being a little bit facetious. If you give me Myles Garrett, I'm done. I don't care about anything else. Right. But of course, we would need to fill out the roster and, we would need to add quality depth.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to have Ezekiel Turner running out there anymore.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to have a depth player, somebody like AQM who actually improved and he had a pretty good season. Right. This is the type of depth player that you're like, okay, he is a depth player and he can actually step in his spot duty and look like someone who starts. Maybe he can't look like he starts for the entire season because he's not supposed to, but for a game here, a game there, that's fine. So we definitely need to get those types of people in, but Myles Garrett he's the tip of the top.
If we get the unicorn that is Myles Garrett, I really can't. I can't complain after that. Because Brad Holmes at that moment has defied everything that I know him to be, and you go get the unicorn. That's because I compare Myles Garrett to what Aidan Hutchinson would be in about 3 or 4 years. Like if you talk about he requests a trade, then it's gonna be Myles Garrett 2.0. The whole world gonna be trying to get him. So if that's the case, you're right. I'm gonna be like, well, look at this guy. He pulled it off, and I'm good. Now, of course, we know he got to do other things, but if you make, because that means that you evolving, like you said, everyone needs to evolve. And if Brad Holmes don't, he gonna be in the unemployment line real quick. I'm telling you what I know, bro. Because I think Sheila's not like her parents. I think she's gonna be like, well, Brad, we gave you 7 years, buddy. 7 years. My kids are breathing down my neck. It's time. Because how crazy would it be, Brad? And Brad Holmes, he gotta want legacy, right? We all want legacy. Well, could you imagine Brad builds the team and we ride there? But because he refused to do this one thing, now he got to watch somebody else take it over the top. Ooh, that'd be tough. That would be tough, bro.
I think, because I know you got to go, but I think that there's no way that he could sit back, watch that Super Bowl, and go, yeah, we need to draft more receivers. I don't think that's what it's going to do.
I'm with you, bro. I feel like that, but do you feel that in your gut? Do you feel it in your gut, or is there's a little bit of reservation?
What I believe is just like, yes, he did do he allocated resources. I was trying to think of the right word. He allocated resources to the secondary, but it wasn't to, like, if Cam Sutton worked out the way you thought he would have, because remember, Cam Sutton wasn't supposed to be your number one. That was supposed to be Emmanuel Mosley. So he thought he made these moves, right? So you got those guys with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. So you're fine because Cam Sutton does what he's supposed to do. Emmanuel Mosley doesn't get hurt, and he returns to the form of what. Fine. But I feel like because he did that, he said, you know what, man, F it. We're just going to knock this out the park. We're going to get this part right. Right. And he did that with the secondary. As we said, Terrion Arnold, whatever. If Terrion Arnold regresses, then you got a Meek still there. And you can just be like, you know what, Terrion, we're going to sit you down a little bit. But I don't think that's going to happen with Terrion. I think Terrion talks too much. He has too much pride to just suck. You know what I'm saying?
You, bro. I like you, man. Listen, I'm going to say this and I'm going to drop the mic. I want y'all to ponder this as I slide off the air.
All right.
You said, now think about Brad Holmes, because I think that it's like that, you marry somebody, right? You see them in their natural state. Then they got all dialed up for the wedding. And it's, some people use veils and all that stuff, but you lift up the veil. I think the veil is starting to be lifted up on Brad Holmes. Let me tell you what I mean. What made him think? Okay, let me ask you this, Don, in the chat. Cam Sutton, was he really what we thought he was? Or did he have his defensive line to help him out? So
he had more than that. I mean, he had linebackers, he had defensive line. I mean, that's Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
And when we had Cam Sutton, who was on our defensive line?
Nobody, but also Cam Sutton was just supposed to be the second.
Oh, but he the second. So, but if he benefited, if he was worth $33 million and he was a benefactor of the 7 in front of him, what did Brad Holmes see in him to bring him in at $33 million when you can't even really name anybody outside of Aidan Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil on our defensive line in 2023? Why would you think, or Brad Holmes thinks, that Cam Sutton was going to be worth that when he was a benefactor of the front 7, the 7 in front of him? And we had like 3. Alex Anzalone. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
Maybe his plan was to add to the defensive line and just okay. I like to be fair. I like to be objective. Cam Sutton sucked in the second half of the season because he had turf toe.
Okay.
All right. He was decent in the first half.
Okay. So about your defensive line comment in the free agency of 2023, what did we do for the defensive line?
Not much.
Okay. The NFL draft, what do we do for the defensive line?
Let's see. Who did we draft in 2023? Broderick Martin? No, did we draft him last year?
With the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL draft. The Detroit Lions select Broderick Martin. Come on, bro. And we traded up to get him.
I got you. But here's the thing. Secondary is fixed.
Secondary is fixed. It better be. Because it is going to be healthy. He a rookie.
I don't. Rookie season. Okay. He better come back with a vengeance. I didn't want in it either because of his injury history.
Okay. Secondary
soft tissue injuries, and he was already out. He missed all the pre-draft stuff because he had a core muscle surgery. So I didn't want to draft him.
But your general manager wanted to draft him.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't have a huge. I thought I didn't want to draft him with our first pick because people were trying to mock him in the first draft, in the first round. I was like, he's not a first round pick. But I just said secondary is fixed.
Okay.
I think he's going to do the same thing with the defensive line.
I hope you're
defensive line and possibly linebacker.
Where are we taking a linebacker at? What pick?
Don't know. But I think he might double down because we need depth.
All right, so give me yours. Including Myles Garrett. Give me your perfect scenario. What you would like?
My perfect scenario. How many picks we have? We have the first round pick, second round pick, third round pick.
Mandatory pick. No fourth.
No fourth.
No fourth. We got 2 seventh round picks. Let me see. Okay, but keep going though. Keep going.
All right. How many picks do we have?
Okay, pulling up Pride of Detroit right now. We've got first round pick number 28, second round pick number 60, 4, 6, and 2 7s.
Tactical Spark said, I'm gonna start calling him Broderick Project Pat Martin.
So the Detroit Lions currently, I take that back. We got compensatory because this is before Aaron Glenn. So we got a comp pick number 3. So we got 1, 2, 3, which is the comp pick. 1 fourth. Yeah, we got a 4th. So DeAndre Swift, we still got that one. We got a 6 and 2 7s. So 1, 2, 3, 7 picks.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Chappelle Show?
Yes, I am.
All right. Dylon. Because I spit hot fire. Okay. Dylon in this situation is a defensive lineman. Okay. Defensive ends, defensive tackles, don't care. All of the defensive line positions. Okay. Get me 2 DEs. Give me 3 DEs. Give me 1 defensive tackle.
Okay, but you said perfect scenario. Give me your perfect.
My perfect scenario is you spend your first 5 picks on the defensive line. One person that you think definitively will start. The second person he could start depending on what he does in training camp, and he could work. And the third and the fourth and the fifth, this is depth, because you don't want to have a situation for like you had this year. I know he's not going to do that, but that's all I care about. I just want you to fix the defensive line.
Okay. So
the rotational guys, Mekhi Wingo was a rotational guy. He played pretty well, whatever, but he got injured as well.
Yep.
So we need a full rotation of players that everybody can't get injured now, right? So we need a full rotation. And once we get our full rotation, I guess maybe you throw a linebacker in there in the third round.
Okay.
Right. So just to be realistic, so maybe you go round 1, round 2, defensive end, round 3, 4, linebacker, because that's going to give you decent depth at both positions. And then maybe the rest of the rounds, you can find Christian Mahogany in the 6th round. Right. So get you another guard somewhere else. But I don't want any receivers, tight ends. Corners, safeties. I don't want any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with him getting a receiver because of how well we did with Tim Patrick and those guys. Because our receiver core ain't stacked now. We got St. Brown, Jameson Williams. We still got Khalif Raymond. Ronnie Bell is future reserve. We still got 3 receivers under contract outside of Ronnie Bell. What's his name? Tim Patrick, not on the team. Got to resign. What's his name? Allen Robinson. Same thing with him. So you could argue, and I think we got Antoine Green. He was put up. He was hurt.
Allen Robinson is not. He doesn't. He was just here because he's from Detroit.
But we made it through. We made it through. Is my point, right? With those guys. So if you and I think Antoine Green is still in some capacity on the team.
I think so. He was on injured reserve, so I don't know if they released him from injured reserve or not. But I'm done with Antoine Green.
They did. I am too. I've been done. But 7th round picks statistically don't pan out. They just don't. Antoine Green, Chase Lucas, Jamar Jefferson, they don't turn out. But
Jamar Jefferson got some carries now.
He did, but he was like always on the practice squad. He was.
But his name is Jameer Jefferson. Don't forget that, Jonathan Vilma. No, I'm sorry. It was Jamar Gibbs.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard that. I think I heard him say that. Yeah, but man, listen, that's what I'm at right now. He got it. I think that this is it. Like, he can't miss. He has not given him any, he's given him space, no breathing room with this defensive line. You're going to put it on attrition in 2024. I believe it's why we lost the NFC Championship game. I honestly believe if we have a Danielle Hunter, I know he didn't want to come here, but if we had one guy that could help get to Brock Purdy, I don't think we blow a 17-point lead. Maybe we blow a 14-point lead. Maybe we kick off, we win by 3 like they won by 3, right? So I believe
I think if Josh catches the passes.
So you one of those.
Bro, he dropped 2 passes. Come on now. Okay, one on the 4th down, and they were perfect passes.
But what about the defense? We just gonna let the defense off the hook?
No, we're not gonna let them off the hook. See, both things can be true. Yeah, we needed somebody on the defense, but the bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. The bird in the hand was the football that he let drop out of his hand.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm not going for that.
Why?
What has been the consistent bane of this team? The defense.
I'm not disagreeing with
that's
you.
Why I can't. And Josh was balling though, like balling.
But Josh also dropped 2 passes.
Right, but Josh had a bad game. That was his Jared Goff game. The defense
at the worst time. The same thing that I'm saying.
Okay, right. But listen, that's what if my son is doing, he getting all A's, then he get a D. I'm gonna be like, what happened, right? Because the proof is in the pudding. Something had to happen. Josh had a bad game, doesn't make him, but the consistent has been a bad defense. That's what I'm trying to point out. So Josh had the worst game at the worst possible time. That doesn't make him. I'm not gonna put that all on him. When every single year I've been making content, it's been one constant: fix this defense. And Brad Holmes is like, well, golly, I'm just gonna this guy and all of this stuff. And now we left with this right here. I don't know why I do with the 96 pick, and that was actually perfect. in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Broderick Martin. And don't tell me, Motor City Don, that you was like, oh, wow, Broderick Martin. Yeah, I was just looking at him. I guarantee you said, who? Did you know who Broderick Martin was prior to?
No.
Did anybody in the chat know who this guy was prior to?
No. But we look, for games,
that's crazy.
We got to judge them in a vacuum. Yes, it would have been great to have a better defense. It's always great to have a better defense. I'm not going to deny that.
Stuff everywhere.
But it's also great when a quarterback throws a football to the receiver that he trusts, not the most, because Amon-Ra St. Brown he trusts the most, but one of your second most trusted receiver, and he hits you in the breadbasket 2 times. One of them is on 4th down, you drop it, kills the drive. The other one is on 3rd down. Didn't he drop it twice on 4th down?
But wait a minute,
was the 3rd down?
Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles in
Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled too.
Yeah.
It was a lot of things. It was a lot of things that happened in that situation. I'm not going to put it. Jahmyr Gibbs is my favorite running back since Barry Sanders.
Yeah, he's a dog. Yep.
But he fumbled.
He did.
At the worst possible time.
Yep.
And they recovered it and they got points.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to absolve anybody from their sins on this one. That's why I'm saying there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened in the NFC Championship game for the collapse. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But in the first half of that game, our defense did its thing. They held them to 7 points. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you need a better defense. But I'm saying in that game specifically, the offense failed us. And it had nothing to do with Jared Goff.
No, but look, we can have another show about that right there.
Yes, we must.
I would love to do that because I would love to do that. You could be where you at, and I'll be where I'm at. Let's do it because we could talk about that for another 2 hours. It's so many things, so many little nuances. Yeah, let's do that. But I got to roll. Okay. Don, I appreciate you, my boy. I
appreciate you.
Glad that we are in this space together. And like I said before, last time I was initially, I had no conception of you at all. Was caught up in the moment. Saw like an enemy of mine, somebody that really, really made me mad and spoke out of term. And once again, I want to apologize publicly for that. I was out of line, and I'm glad I reached out to you, man, because sometimes it takes a bigger person to be like, I made a mistake. Shouldn't have said your name like I did. And I want everybody to know, again, I did it before, but I'll continue to do it, man, at least one more time. 3 times for emphasis, right? We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
So, but appreciate you, my man. Congratulations on 600. And, eventually you'll get ads. And I think you get paid with ads, right? When ads get in your videos, right? So you can get paid because sometimes you might do this and not get paid, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes you get ads and it's like it just nothing hits your account.
That's
you
what
be
I'm
like,
that's
what happened?
And
ads was paid for.
The crazy part is, man, at first, I got the Syndicate, right? And then one thing that I noticed about the Syndicate is there was a lot of grit. You could say all grit, right? You could say all grit. And now it's just 2 guys talking football. So with that being said, I'm gonna holler at y'all, man. Keep doing your thing, man, and I'll catch you next time.
I appreciate you, man. Hey, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Once again, that was Derek from Lions Syndicate. You know me, it's hot in here, bro, and I've been here over 2 hours, so I'm about to start glistening. It's the summer in Australia, so I'm gonna get up out of here. Once again, people, appreciate the super chats, all of that stuff. We'll be back tomorrow with Easy. He should be here. We have confirmed, but with Easy, we got to make sure we confirm a second time. But we'll be back here with Easy, and we will talk about some things. We'll talk about some offseason expectations. We'll talk about some grades. We'll do some of the stuff we did here today and more. But appreciate you guys for stopping in once again. For the new people, the new subs, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart because I appreciate you, dog. Because y'all let me do what I do when they tried to bury me, dog. But can't bury what's in the effing dirt. All right. So the Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news, pragmatic, and we are out of here. Peace.